an YAPC more than 2 times, more than 5 times.
5.
Who's been to a YAPC Asia except for the Japanese guys?
Okay.
Nobody's been to YAPC Asia.
Okay.
So I think this talk is mainly for those people who have been to YAPCs outside of YAPC Asia multiple times, because the difference is quite stark. And it's kind of interesting. So I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. First of all, warning. I'm going to talk a lot about YAPC Asia and differences and whatnot, but to be honest, YAPC Asia is nothing like YAPC EU or NA, so do not make direct comparisons. Although we share the same name, it's not quite the same conference. So what I'm going to explain to you may not be directly applicable for YAPC EU or NA or anywhere else. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm going to be talking a lot about money. I used approximately 150 Japanese yen to a euro as my calculation basis. So use that as when you think about it. Yeah, and most of my numbers are rounded up. So they're just like, approximate figures only. One more. Apparently this YAPC isn't being recorded. And if you don't blog, tweet, or do something about the information that I passed you in this talk, it's going to get lost. So I strongly advise you guys to blog, tweet, or do something about it if there's anything that sticks to your, that I said that sticks to you. Okay? And lastly, stop me anytime. There's no way I can cover the whole YAPC Asia thing in 15 minutes, and I am going to skip over a lot of things. So if there's something that comes up to your mind that you want to ask about, stop me, okay? All right, so let's get to the main thing. That's me, lestrrat. I do have 140 CPAN modules up. My latest accomplishment is this tool called Pico. You can look it up later. And I've organized YAPC Asia 6 times, and I've been involved in every single one of the YAPC Asias for the last 10 years, which is way too much. All right, so we just finished doing the last YAPC Asia 2015 2 weeks ago. It was, you kind of see it. It was smashing success, I think. This is the main hall. This hall could contain about 1,000 people. And you can't quite see it, but that's Larry talking. And I'm gonna just kind of try to introduce YAPC Asia for you guys. So, some numbers. Sawyer already said this morning, but we had 2,130 attendees total. That's number of ticket holders, staff, and speakers combined. So, approximately this many people came and to the event. We had about 90 talks, including all the lightning talks. We had 60 sponsors. We just hit 400 blog entries for this conference. We are very adamant about having our attendees blog about our conference, because we want for everybody to give us feedback and to also promote YAPC Asia through their blogs. So the saying that we use is, YAPC ain't over until you blog about it. And we keep repeating and repeating and repeating until they finally get fed up and blog about it. So yeah, that's 20% of all attendees. This is an interesting number. 100 megabps of data was constantly going through 2.5 days. When you bring 2,000 engineers to one place, this is the amount of data that you actually pass through your network. Okay? Approximately 3,500 mobile devices connected to the Wi-Fi network. Now think about it. This YAPC, about 200 some people are registered to that YAPC, right? I guess everybody has one laptop, maybe a mobile phone, right? So maybe 400 devices is all that connects to the Wi-Fi network. But we're going one digit above that, and this poses a significantly different challenge for us organizers. I'll get to that later. This is my favorite. Approximately 26 million Japanese yen was the budget. That's the euro cost. 175,000 euros, I think my calculations are correct. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, so that's sort of YAPC by numbers. A few more numbers. The team, you can't quite see it, but there are approximately 90 people in the staff. I don't know how many people you got in the YAPCU, but 90 people total. Now, of these 90 people, about 60 of these are what we call the volunteer staff. People that come on the day of the event to help, shove people around or move chairs or, do that sort of stuff. Of the remaining 30 or so, 22 of them are network staff. They build our Wi-Fi network completely just for this conference. I'll explain about these people again. And these numbers don't quite add up, but of the 90, 12 were what we call the core staff. The people who did the planning beforehand, who worked with me for about 10 months to bring YAPC for these people. And there's supposed to be a picture behind there, but it's not showing up. Anyway, okay. Yeah. And there's one partially paid staff, that'll be me. And it's because of my sponsor, so thank you. And this is the reason why I can come here. Thank you. So basically, more than 2,000 people, 90 staff, 26 million budget. All right. The question is, how do we do it, right? And it's really simple. It's really just the same as any engineering project. You first design it, and then you implement it. The big thing is to actually realize that you have to properly design your conference beforehand. If you start implementing without a design, you're gonna get screwed. At least in this size, right? So let me try to go over what kind of designing, what I mean by designing. Now designing, why design? So you have to know what kind of conference you want to make, where you want to hold it. That's like the size, basically. When you choose the venue, you have to know the size beforehand. So you need to know that, and yeah, you need to make these decisions first, and then look for venues or look for sponsors that matches your requirements. Okay, and until you know that, you can't make judgments prioritize judgments, because every single choice that you make when you're doing a conference, there's good size and bad size, and without knowing that, without making that first design, you can't really make a cohesive choice whenever you come across these problems, right? I do have a little write-up on Medium there. If you want to read it later, I'll put the slides up so you can peruse it. The first thing that we had to design was, what is the conference about? Now, YAPC-EU, YAPC-NA, it's, that's how I put it, it's sort of a family union for the pro people. YAPC is just a little different. We define it as a festival for all the geeks, okay? Regardless of which community you come from, Perl, Python, whatever. We don't even, I'll come back to this later, but we don't even care if you're not in the language community. As long as you have something technical, interesting to share, we'd like to welcome you, right? And who is it for? So for speech, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
My point is, how do you decide which talks are in and which ones are?
I'll get to that in a few more slides. Yes. Who's it for? So speakers, we want professional engineers who can with interesting text storytelling, and the audience, we want a broad range. We don't want just the white bearded wizards. We don't want just the newbies. We want to include just about all the spectrum in the technical community. Okay. I'm not saying this is how you should do it, but this is how we decided to do it. And how big? So we want a big festival. Last time we did it, it was 1,300 people. We wanted to top that, and because we knew this was going to be my last one, we wanted to go with a bang. So 2,000 was the number, because as soon as you hit 2,000, I don't think anybody can do that. So yeah, and the point is, I don't want this to be an enterprisey, big showcase type of conference. I want it to be, where engineers can share their ideas and socialize and whatnot. Right? I'll get to this later, but venues of this size are extremely, extremely scarce. Okay, so that's kind of the big pillar design decisions that we've made in the very, very beginning. This was about October last year. And what those pillars tell us, what you can deduce from those pillars is basically like the ballpark figures, including costs. Because we've been doing this for 10 years, we know how much it costs per attendee to hold a YAPC agent, on average. So that's the amount. Approximately 70 euros per person. And if we wanted to hold an event for 2,000 people, 140,000 euros. Right? And we can also calculate the amount of money we can raise, because we can calculate that from past experience. On average, we make about 2,500 euros per sponsor. We make approximately 25 euros per attendee. So, from the attendees, we can make approximately 50,000 euros. We know that already. So that means out of the entire ballpark cost, 140K, we can already assume that we make 50K. So we know that 90K must be raised from sponsors. Right? And we know how much each sponsor is going to give us, so we know that we need at least 40 to 50 sponsors. So this tells us that we have to be ready to sweet talk 40 to 50 sponsors. That means you have to get ready, okay? I just said that. So we know what kind of venue we should look for. Now we know kind of what to tell to our sponsors. When you go to a sponsor, you have to convince them that it's worth it to invest in your conference, right? And when you do that, the first question that's going to come up is, what is the conference about, right? So because we already did the basic designing part, we know what to tell them. It's a festival. It's for everybody. And we're going to have interesting talks. Okay? And we know the costs, and we know the number of sponsors. Yeah. So this sort of gives us the overall design enough to start implementing stuff. Okay? So, man, the pictures are not coming up. Okay, implementing the conference. I don't know about other YAPCs, but given all that design decisions and whatnot, the first thing that we did was to think of how we manage our team. Because conferences this size, obviously you can't do it alone. And the truth is that staff are the organizer team's most valuable resource. Their time is the most valuable thing. So you got to think of this first, or otherwise the whole 10 months of preparation time is going to be hell. Right? And the key word to think about in team management is to minimize the waste of resources in the staff, for the staff. Now, the first thing we decided, well, we didn't have to decide because we've been doing this for a while. I manage my team top down, very much top down. If I say something that's black, if I call it white, it's white. Even if it looks black, it's white, right? I hold supreme executive powers derived from mundane masses. But I like to think I'm a benevolent dictator. So I make the main decisions, but I delegate the power to staff. But when something comes up that needs decision making, I have the final say. Right? And I do this because a conference of this size, I don't think it's a job for a committee. And when your priority is not to waste people's resources, you have to be fair, but you have to make fast decisions, and you have to be sort of you have to give oh god, blocking out. But anyway, you have to make fast decisions, and in order to do that, top down is really the only way to do it. When you do a committee type thing, you know, you're going to get into long, lengthy discussions, and you're going to waste so many hours. Not really good. Okay? And in order to do that, you have to implement good communication models, blah, blah, blah. So, in order to do that, we have to find some tools to do this. Again, communication is one of the most important things to do it. 12 of us, the core staff, we work completely remotely. We don't work in the same company. We do work in the greater Tokyo area, so we're relatively close, so that we can actually meet if we need to. But you know, this is volunteer work. We don't want to waste people's time to get together too often. So we need good tools to allow remote work. Also, this is very important. Half of our core staff are not engineers. We don't run the conference with only engineers. So the tools that we make, that we choose, must be easily usable by these people too. So what that means is that we have some requirements. It has to be easy to sign up, because, you know, like, I'm gonna give a spoiler already. I'm basically saying IRC doesn't work. Because, look, first time conference organizers who are not really technical, they do not want a black screen of death, okay? They want pretty interface, they want to be able to lightly use these communication tools. So these are sort of the requirements that we came up with, and kind of Slack was like they're the anti-open source, but whatever, but you know, this was the only tool that really fit the criteria. And no, we don't use IRC. It's 2015, we have better choices. Okay? So that was the main medium of communication. Yeah. We use GitHub. GitHub mainly to keep to-do lists, to have weekly minutes. We had a bot that wakes up every Monday morning and creates an automatic entry, a markdown entry for weekly minutes, and reminds us on Slack saying, "Hey, write your minutes," and we reluctantly go and do it. But this was very good, because if we don't do this, we can't keep track of what tasks are going on or what blockers we had. So, highly recommended. So that's GitHub. We extensively use Google Drive. This was mainly for spreadsheets, PDFs, you know, non-text stuff, binary files that we all love to hate, in one big folder. This one big folder thing is actually kind of important, because I put all the financial stuff there too, which was a very big decision for me. Until the last year I organized, I kept all the financial details secret from my core staff, because, you know, it's a touchy subject. But this year, because the conference was so big, and, you know, if I get hit by a boss, somebody needs to take care of it. And I just opted to not be the single point of failure. And in the end, it worked out great. One other communication medium that you can all think of, email. We did not use it at all. None whatsoever. We do not email each other in 2015. we use Slack only, pretty much. The email is only used to communicate to sponsors. Okay? And in the end, for the communication thing, we did have monthly meetups, drink ups, whatever. So this was not really to discuss tasks. We did discuss tasks for about 30 minutes, and then the rest of the meetup was just drink ups. It's basically to build a team. When you're working with the same team for 10 months, and you only work remotely, it's doable, but if you have the choice, you really should take the time to have more bonding between your team members. So this is what the meetups were about. I know that, for example, in YAPC, people on the East Coast, West Coast work together, so it's not physically doable, but if you have the choice, I highly recommend it. Okay, so that's sort of the way we ran our team. So basically, I was the dictator. I communicated stuff with Slack, and Slack wasn't just for saying, hey, you do this task, and everybody's like, hi. No. that wasn't it. Slack was mostly for chit chat. It was very important that every staff knew about each other, what people like and how they operate. So, like I'd say 80% of our conversation was just small talk. But it was good. It worked out great. Okay. And yeah, GitHub, Google Drive. Those were the tools we used, and everything worked out pretty good. Let's see if the next slide comes up. Ah, God! Okay, I'll show this picture later, but there is the venue here.
I can see it.
Look at the slides later.
It's in the North Pole.
So the venue. I already told you that the venue was scarce. Combined capacity of 2,000. This is very hard. There are places like that, but usually there are like concert halls, not like this room. And rooms must be close to each other. Like this setup is working out pretty nice, but some of the universities that we had contact with, they had plenty of rooms, but each of the rooms were like 10 minutes apart walking. So it doesn't quite work, because if you have to walk for 10 minutes, you have to put 20-minute breaks between talks, which cut down the number of talks you can shove in 2.5 days, okay? Which is actually serious. And yeah, it has to be large enough. Oh yeah, we have to have a room for dinner. Not for 2,000 people, but we had to have a big room for dinner. And finally, I'll get into this later, but we had to use a venue that allowed us to muck with the the wirings and stuff and build our own network. I'll explain about in a few slides. So there's no such venue, almost no such venue. I call up around 10, 15 different places. Most of them were like, no, we can't hold 2,000 people. The few of the places that had capacity for 2,000 people, they're like, what, 2015? Are you talking about 2016 or 17? No, it's like, you have to reserve these places 2 years in advance because they're taken already, right? But this year we got lucky because there was a cancellation. So that's the only reason why we were able to hold YAPC in 2015. And I have only one advice if you have to look for venues of this size. Act early. That's all you can do. Because you're fighting for a very scarce resource. Everybody wants the best venues, so you just have to work beforehand. Let's see if this comes up. Yes! This is the venue. This is the venue. Now, this here is the 6th floor. Everybody's walking on the 2nd floor. So there's 4 floors difference there. This venue is called the Tokyo Big Sight. For those of you who are anime manga enthusiasts, this is where Comiket is being held. Okay, so not too many people know. Okay, never mind. This didn't come out. Never mind. This was the floor mat, but this is the dinner room. It held 700 people. This was crazy. But anyway, we called around, we waited, we got waitlisted, and miraculously we got this venue, which was very good. And finally, yes, I finally come back to the Wi-Fi. One important thing was, again, conference this size, nobody expects 2,000 engineers, each carrying 2 to 3 mobile devices. Okay? I think, I will almost bet that if you bring 2,000 people, each carrying three mobile devices in this venue, you're not going to be able to even get an IP address. All right? But so what do we do? There's a long story behind this Kongu thing, but these are a bunch of network engineers. Okay? So you guys are programmers, right? Programmers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Do you program at home? Is like your spare time hobby? Yeah. About 80% do, okay? These are network engineers. Networks engineers build network on their spare time. Okay? That's what they said. They told me this. So these people are learning about new network technologies. They have new ideas that they want to try out, but where are you going to build a network? Right? Okay, so you can build a network at home, but who's going to use that? You? One-person network? That's not fun, right? Right? So this is where we kind of had the agreement. We give you the chance to build your custom whatever network. We are not going to complain if it goes down for 2-3 minutes. That's fine, And if they did this for business, then whoever the hire them would be very pissed if the network was down for 15 seconds, right? It's okay. So we kind of work together, and it works. These are the 22 network staff that built the entire Wi-Fi system to allow 2,000 engineers to connect all at once, and it worked almost 99% flawlessly. All right, so we really love them. They were very good. If you could export them here, I would, but I think the cost would go. Flying them here would just not work. Okay, so that's about all that we had to do for the venue. Once we got the venue, everything kind of starts rolling. Because once you get a venue, your dates for the conference automatically is decided for you, and you just have to work with it. So what's next? Sponsors. Okay. I know a lot of people hate the talk about money, but it's a fact that without money you can't have a conference, and when you have a conference of 2,000 people, you need a lot of money. So we had to be systematic. We had to be well prepared for this. Now, the goal is obviously to raise that 90k euro that's missing. And if we don't raise this, we're just gonna go under the red, and who's gonna pay for that, right? Now, for you guys, if you were asked, hey, can you support a tech conference for us? And given you had enough money, it's a no-brainer, right? You know that conferences work. You know that the bond that you make at conferences, the sharing of ideas that you do at a conference, they bring a lot of value, right? So you guys as engineers know that conference worth investing on. But look, when you look for sponsors, corporate sponsors, you are talking to pointy-haired bosses. They do not understand tech. They do not necessarily like to send their engineers on a weekday to conferences, because that's one day less work. Okay, so you have to make it easy for non-engineers to grok what is it that you want them to do, or what merits they have. So in order to do this, we have to basically get some things ready. The first one, abstract purpose of the conference, was basically covered by the designing portion, right? What is the conference about? Why we're doing it? Second one, very important, visual aids, because these are non-engineers, and you have to explain them what you want them to do. You need pretty pictures. People do not read document. You don't even read documents, right? Bosses don't. And also, you really need a comprehensive sponsorship menu. I'll come back to that later. So first, visual aids. I Googled it for this, and found it for the first time. This is the warning sign for explosives. I didn't even know they had those. Anyway, you need visual aids to let them understand what it is that you're doing, and to also impress them that you're legit. Okay? So, if you don't think that pretty pictures are important, you have to wake up, because only the die-hard fans will be attracted to your conference without a professional-looking site and materials. Okay? If you have a 1990s-looking site saying, hey, this is a fun conference, nobody's going to come to you, except for the people who already know about it. New generations of attendees are only going to come if you have something pretty and sexy, okay? And nothing works better than visual materials. And this is very important. Sponsors care that you have professional grade materials, because their names are going to be associated with your site or whatever, right? Again, if you have a 1990s style site and they put your logo, well, if they're already understanding of those situations, they don't care. But if they are new sponsors, they probably don't want their names associated with a 1990s type of conference. Okay? They want stuff that's pleasant. Okay? So, for our conference, some of the stuff that we did, one of the first things we did, we had an official logo set, a vectorized logo set that we could just hand out to anybody who wanted to use these photos. And in fact, this shirt was made by one of our sponsors. They just used our logo. And we were just like, hey, use it. And we're not going to pay anything for these shirts. Actually, pay us to have the right to make these shirts. Right? And without this sort of logo set, you can't even do that. Right? This is our OGP image. Who knows what an OGP is? Who doesn't know what an OGP image is? Come on! Don't you use Facebook? So when you use a social network nowadays, and you put a link, right? They automatically fetch your images that you specify to be displayed. OGP image is that. If you don't specify an OGP image, they will choose a random photo on your page, or they'll just have just a link, which is not sexy. Nobody clicks links anymore. People click pictures, okay? So this was one of the first things we did. We created an OGP image, we stuck them into every page so that anybody who linked to us in Facebook or Twitter, they see this. Hey, they see what we're called, they see the dates, and they see where. Automatic marketing, okay? This is the sponsorship menu that I told you about. You can't read it, but this is like basic sponsorship thing. This is the right to create a swag bag. They have to pay to distribute their swag bag. Okay. This is a translation sponsor. This is for ads. We had many of these. This is kind of important because when you say, hey, become a platinum sponsor for us, what does that mean? What is a platinum sponsor? Does that include what? What does it include? Right? It's very hard to convey that. When you have a sponsorship menu like this and tell them, hey, choose the one that you want to do, and pay as much as you want to pay. This is way easier. Okay? You have to put a lot of thought before going to the sponsors, but it's much, much easier to raise money this way. Okay? Oh yeah, and it's extremely important that this is not a Word doc, because again, nobody reads documents. People just read pretty pictures and the heading. Oh, somebody gave a talk about headings yesterday.
It says the PDF document.
What's that?
It says the PDF document.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty PDF, okay? Yeah, yesterday Ovid said something about headlines, right? So we have, actually it's really funny, we went to 50, 60 sponsors, I went to 50, 60 sponsors to explain about this. Nobody reads this. People only look at the pictures and the headlines. And they ask, what is this? And I have to basically read them what it says here. Anyway, so you need that kind of pretty stuff. And one, yeah.
You get some kind of graph at the bottom right of each section.
Oh, this?
It has these red blocks. What are you doing?
These are prices. And I'm not going to tell you how much they pay for. Classified material for the sponsors. Okay? And one last visual aid item that I really, really want to stress. Hire a photographer. Okay? Hire a photographer, especially if you want to keep doing the same conference over and over. Because this makes sure that you preserve the moment. When you have a picture, it's easy to tell your sponsors how many people there were, how interested they were, or what kind of rock star the developers came to talk, whatever. It's very easy to convey that message to the sponsors. Whereas if you just had text, you have to, again, nobody reads it, and you have to explain it over and over and over the same thing. Pictures tell 1,000 words. This is from this year's conference. Okay, so the rendering isn't great, but these are professional grade photos. It's very easy to convince your sponsors that you are legit if you have really, really good photos. And do not expect photos from your audience because, granted, there may be people who are good with photographs, but they're no match for professional photographers. It actually makes a difference. And it doesn't cost too much. Right? God, the rendering. This is my blog about YAPC Asia. We have a bunch of photos. It's so easy to tell what the atmosphere was. Right? At least it looks, it looks like something was going on there, right? So, it's very underrated, but I highly recommend that you hire photographers. Now, finally, equipped with all these visual materials and stuff, I get to go to the sponsors, each and every single one of them. This is a peculiar situation in Japan because most of the sponsors are in the greater Tokyo area where you can actually visit them. So, in the traditional Japanese style, you have to go and pay respect to your sponsors and ask, please give us money, So, I went to all 50, 60 of them. Took me about 2 months. All right, so yeah, raising money is not evil. It's only evil if you do it in an evil way. And if you're an organizer, it's something that you really, really have to put effort on because having funds means you have more choices. If you don't have enough funds, the only decision criteria that you have is if, for example, if the venue A is cheaper than venue B, or if your printer guy is cheaper than printer B, whatever, right? That's the only decision criteria that you can use. But if you have enough funds, you can actually make decisions based on your actual needs, right? So it's very important. Okay. Finally, well, not finally, we're getting close. Finally, I'm going to talk about the content, which are the talks and stuff. So far, the only thing I've been talking about is business type of stuff. Now, the secret ingredient to YAPC Asia talks. YAPC Asia is not a Perl conference. It's not. We do not focus on any language. We don't. We're biased towards Perl. But the only thing we ask for when you have a talk submission is that you do an interesting talk for engineers. Now, the thing is, everything being equal, we do choose Perl content. Okay? But that's the last criteria that we use.
How do you announce it on the main page of the conference? Do you say that YAPC stands for yet another Perl conference or something?
Yes, we do that. We do say that, but we also say it's open for everybody. And on the call for papers, we say exactly what I just said. It's okay, just submit anything. But if your talk is not Perl related, first of all, you have a little disadvantage. You have to be overwhelmingly good. And you also have to say the word Perl a couple times during your talk. That's the only restriction. Okay, and when you do a call for papers, and you send a proposal, we immediately publish them publicly. What this gets you is we also ask the speakers who submitted their talks to promote their talks so that they can have they can be linked on Twitter, or people press the like button on Facebook. So we know we can sort of tell what sort of subject the audience wants. Okay, and also it's automatic marketing because people want to talk at YAPCs. They go and market YAPC for us. Okay. In the talk selection, first thing we check is, again, quality of the abstract. It's very important that the abstracts are good, otherwise we won't even consider it. We get, oh, this number is old. We get about 160 proposals for 40 slots. So only 1 out of 4 talks are accepted. And we have tiebreakers, so the number of shares in social networks gets consideration, and if it's Perl, if everything being equal, we choose the Perl talks. Alright. Other stuff about the content, we don't do tutorials or masterclasses. It's purely business decision. We couldn't afford it, so we don't do it. And we also have some special sessions for sponsors, but we are very careful with this because when sponsors want to talk at our conference, normally their talk really sucks. So when I go to talk to them, I tell them, it's okay if you want to take a slot for this amount of money, but if you don't put effort into making it good, it's going to hurt you. That's what I say, and if they are okay with that, I let them take the slots. Yeah? So that's how we kind of select our content. Not really restricted to a single stack or anything. It's open to anybody as long as it's interesting for people. And yeah. All right. Miscellaneous. God, no pictures are showing up. Website. This is. I get a lot of shit for this. We do not use ACT. We do not use ACT. Listen, we did use ACT until 2009. I quit because, first of all, the server is in France. Second of all, I don't have root access to it. And even if I wanted to give access to, say, my designer to build a web page for us, right? The steps involved are too convoluted, right? For us engineers, it's okay, but for somebody who's not technical, it's too much. So basically, ACT and myself become single point of failure in this whole process. So we don't do that. Instead, what we do is we just create a static page plus with movable type plus dynamic content via, guess what? Just raw PSGI apps. We have like 3 PSGI apps that are just running, doing talk submissions and other stuff that we do. And ticketing, outsource it. We do not do process money. We do not print out tickets. Nothing like that. So ticketing, yeah. We use a service called PTix. You can use Eventbrite, whatever you want. All right. Timing is everything. Blah blah blah. Well, this is sort of. Well, you can read it later. Balance sheet. If you're an organizer, I really would like to share my balance sheet because it's really interesting if you like money. I do. So if you want to talk about it, find me later. I'll show you my balance sheet. Okay, and that's about all I have. So just wrapping up. The important things that I wanted to convey to you guys. You need a grand design of what you want your conference to be. Otherwise, nothing gets done correctly. You need to take care of your staff, and you need to make sure that communication happens correctly between your staff. Oh, I said that. And outsource wisely, because you don't, I know us engineers like to do everything by our own way, but it's really not worth it. If you have a service that you can outsource, do it. You'll save time and money. And in the same vein, use the web. It's 2015. People use Facebook, people use Twitter, people use Instagram. Use it, man. It's promotion for free, okay? And it does work. And finally, I think I scared you all, but it's not hard to do a 2,000 people conference. It's not, it's really not. Look, I started out not knowing anything, okay? I distinctly remember the day when Miyagawa handed off the YAPC thing to me, you know, and oh, there you are. We already talked about this in our live YAPC Asia, but I had no idea how to run this. Somehow I got to do it up to this point, and it all worked out. So, I was an amateur. Everybody's an amateur at first, so it's doable. Okay. Finally, some resources. I'll post this slide up on the web so you can check out some links later. I have photos from way back from 2009. I have videos, and that's it. Any questions? Yes, Steve?
When and where is the first beacon held?
Okay, so at the end of YAPC Asia 2015, I announced that this is going to be the last one. Actually, no, before that I announced that this is going to be the last one. But I did describe my next ambition, which, if things go right, I might do in 2017, but no promises. I will post a link later too, okay? But don't count on it yet. Yes?
Yeah, so I read your blog post saying that it was for the last YAPC Asia. Does that mean that you haven't been able to find anybody to hand it on to in the same way that it was dumped on you?
So for the past, first YAPC Asia I did was 7 years ago, and for the last 7 years I've been saying, God, please somebody do it for me. And there was one person who did it, but he couldn't continue it after 1 year, so there's nobody else that can do it. Basically, I think the reason was we were a little too successful, right? You don't want to inherit a 2,000 people conference and maybe flop it, right? As an organizer, I know that it's okay to do, for example, to have a smaller conference. You know, it's totally fine. But you know, people that are just looking at it from outside, they give shit for this sort of thing. You know, it's like, hey, it used to be 2,000, now you only have 500 people, but you know.
Yeah.
So people probably don't want to inherit that kind of legacy, basically.
So currently, you don't think that there will be one?
I don't think there will be. I publicly said, you know, it's people have the right to use the name YAPC Asia. You can do it if you want. There may be something really small, regional, not YAPC Asia Tokyo, but maybe YAPC Asia Fukuoka, YAPC Asia Hokkaido, whatever in Japan. But it'll be like 100 people, 200 people. It's not going to be the same. Yeah.
Who's your staff? Is it guys working with you, volunteers, or someone you hired for the job?
Everybody is a volunteer. I'm the only partially paid staff. By partial, I mean my employer thinks that it's a good idea for me to work on this sort of stuff because it sells their name. It sells their name. Okay? So, yeah. Everybody's volunteer. Anything else? Yes?
If someone will beat your record,
Yeah?
it will be challengeable for you to make more than 2,000.
Look, the only thing I need is money. If I have money, I will, and I can and will do a conference for 5,000, 10,000 people. I mean, I already done this for 10 years. I can do it again, but not that I want to. Anything else? All right. If you're an organizer, if you're interested about more detailed, nitty-gritty stuff, find me in the hallways. I'll be happy to answer you. So, thank you.